Everybody, thanks for watching. Just a quick reminder that the lecture at UNLV, the discussion we had on hip hop, that video will be available on Merkabah Academy soon. It's a lot of editing involved. Turned into more like a debate, got a little bit heated, a little bit disrespectful, in my opinion. But just, a couple brothers really passionate about what they do. And yeah, these guys are Grammy and Emmy Award winners, people who work with Beyonce and Jay-Z and a lot of big name celebrities, Kanye, Drake. So, the discussion got into, of course, you guys know my stance on hip hop, but just changing the lyrics, changing hip hop, the culture into something that's more beneficial to Black people as a whole. And it's just a lot of people have different ideologies on hip hop, and we come at it a lot of times from the direction of it being Black music, from what it used to be. And it's not what it used to be anymore. It wasn't what it was, in the early 90s, what it used to be before that. Hip hop's changed a lot. We don't own it. We don't control it. We put the music out and we see what the music is doing. So if you're making a living off of hip hop music, if this is something you put your life into and dedicated your life to, of course, you don't want somebody like me telling you that, it's destroying the Black community or it's harmful to our children or what have you. So the discussion got a little bit heated, a little bit disrespectful, like I said. But like I said, just brothers being passionate about what they do and just a difference of opinion. But at the end, it was all love and respect for these brothers and the doctor who was there. She had a lot of input on behind the scenes and what happens to video girls and stuff they talk about. So we're gonna get into all that in that video on Merkabah Academy for Never Pay Again members. Make sure you guys, I'll let you guys know when it's up, when it's done. But at some points I have to put in there that I didn't get a chance to put or speak on at the lecture for reasons you'll see. And because, it just wasn't enough time to get everything out. But I feel like my point was made. A couple young ladies in the audience made my point for me. And they basically proved my point through the conversation. Everything I was speaking on was basically proven from just the questions that was asked and the way, the people presented themselves and how they spoke and the way they put things out just made my point on how I feel, hip hop should go. A lot of people get defensive when you talk about that, especially if they are artists, like you trying to take their money or something, take food out their mouth, which if I could have got my whole point out, I think they would understood that we kind of talk about the same thing as far as not so much completely changing hip hop. It's just we don't have to glorify the destruction in the Black community. It's so many rappers who have been killed by exactly what they rap about, the same type of way. And everybody's sad and it's all fun and games in the beginning, but when one of these guys get killed, it's a big deal and everybody's sad. And the next thing, we back at it. We back partying, we back jamming, turning music up, talking about the same thing. I mean, if my brother or sister or loved one was just shot up and killed in a violent way, I don't want to hear that music. I don't want to hear nobody glorifying it and rapping about shoot this nigga, kill this nigga, rolled up on him, shot him up and all this kind of stuff. I don't want to hear that. It's just, why do we do this? But, I have a lot of videos where I get into hip hop and talking about how it affects us. It's not just an opinion. It's data. It's clear as day we all can see. You can hear the music yourself and hear what it's talking to, what it's speaking to, and how that has changed, the Black community in a negative way. You go back to the 60s, 70s, it wasn't this way. As far as how bad the violence is and the way the kids are because of the culture, because of the way things are. You'll hear the young lady in the video speak on just her experience with her little brother, and just how hip hop has changed and how they're seeing it. This generation of kids, which they understand is way different from how we grew up with hip hop. And a lot of people got to understand that damage is done. It's not so much as, us looking at hip hop and thinking, we gotta change every single thing, or, we're looking at the effects that already happened. We're dealing with them already. So us saying that, okay, it's poverty and it's the drugs and the crime, and we just rapping about that. not understanding that this stuff came about because of hip hop music. So when I'm saying this, a lot of people, it may seem that, it may come across as if I'm blaming hip hop for the way the black community is, period. Like just hip hop. Of course, it's not just hip hop. Hip hop adds to it. It's obviously poverty. But we have to understand that hip hop is educational. It's one of the points I touched on at the lecture, that hip hop is influential, it's educational, and people mimic the music. So if we can prove this, which we can, and I talked about the Rotman Institute and how they, the neuroscientists did a whole study on how music affects the brain, then we can prove that, this music affects us. And I always talk about C. Dolores Tucker and how she talked about, hey, you can't listen to all this filth and not have it affect you. So we have proof. We all see it. We all know we got to stop playing games as adults. We know what the music is talking about, and we see how that music is playing out in our culture, and we choose to ignore it for the sake of entertainment. So we find the entertainment in our own destruction with what we're finding cool and, what we call trend and, what's popping. It's killing us. My point was, to make sure that we can control what's being put out, which we don't. And to ask the questions like, why is it that these guys feel like, they want to pay us millions of dollars to talk about everything that's bad with the black community? Because you ain't getting no deal. You're not getting mainstream unless you talk about this stuff. And we all know this. You've seen a lot of memes going around now about bring back the old R&B. Bring back R&B groups. A lot of people talk about that. What happened to the music when we're talking about love and, just the emotions we go through when you first meet somebody? You want their attention. We don't talk about this stuff anymore. We don't talk about anything that's building the black community as far as college. We don't talk about entrepreneurship. We don't glorify how it's cool to be educated and to be an entrepreneur and to not kill your, brother or sister, your fellow black man, black woman. We don't glorify that in a good way. We glorify it, in a negative way, as far as like, it's cool to do this. You're somebody if you do this. This is going to make you somebody. You ain't real as a rapper unless you've been to jail or shot at somebody or killed somebody. This is this is the tone that hip hop is putting out. So, a lot of people, and this is the normal thing, we all been through this, and it's semantics and it's playing stupid. But a lot of people will say, well, I listened to hip hop all my life. I ain't never want to go shoot nobody. And it's not a literal thing. People, they know damn well it's impossible for a woman to come from a man's rib, yet they claim Christianity. They know it's impossible for a man to survive 3 days in a whale or a big fish, but they still, claim Christianity. So we understand that we can listen to this music and it's talking about shooting and killing people. We're not going to do that. But we can also understand that there's people who do it, and it's people who listen to music when they go do it. Hip hop. I talked about the correlation between, gangster rap when it came out and then the private prisons. And then the fact that these labels is signing you only if you're talking about the destruction of the black community, because they understood what it would do. Again, why would you care about how many niggas a person shot, how many bitches they fucked, or how much coke that you sold as a rich white man? Why are you selling that? Why don't they want to take their millions of dollars, their record label, and put it into country music or into white music and use that money to promote these white artists that's putting out something more positive mainstream? Why do they feel like they want to take the black people and pay them these millions of dollars, make them famous to talk about what they talk about? We don't ask that question. It ain't about they seeing, oh, we can make money off of these black people. They can't make money off the white artists, the country artists. They can't make money off the rock and roll artists. They can make money off those artists. Why is it they using specifically this? So we got to understand, what all this means, that we have gangster rap, we have private prisons, we have the most incarcerated race of people on the planet being black people, put in these private prisons and fucking basically slaves all over again. And, crime shot up once hip hop music and crack hit the streets. This is all together, and we choose to ignore this because now we're in the future and it happened already. So people don't see or don't want to acknowledge how we got here. And see, now we're more educated. So we're not looking at hip hop the same and saying, oh, well, it stemmed from this violence and everything. People want to view it as a culture. As a brother at the lecture who was talking about, oh, my sneakers, everything from head to toe is basically because of hip hop. So he's basically helping me prove my point by saying, he's been influenced by hip hop to the point where it changed his whole appearance, his attitude, the way he is. That's a psychological connection. That's a connection that's psychological. And we all feel that connection. I love hip hop, of course, and I listen to hip hop music. I blast hip hop music when I'm cleaning. Everybody knows it's a certain song that you listen to when you're feeling a certain type of way that makes you, that helps you get through what you're doing when you listen to that song. It's motivation. But we have to understand we can have that motivation with different types of lyrics. It don't have to be all negative. And not all the songs we listen to is negative and promoting that. The thing is, we're not being responsible. We have to be responsible and say, just like you would do if you're a father or mother, it's not that much food left. You got kids to feed. You're going to go hungry. That's what you're supposed to do. Do the responsible thing. Feed your kids first. Make sure your kids eat. That's what you're supposed to do. A lot of us have been there and done that. And of course, you would love to enjoy this chicken or pizza or whatever is there. You would love to enjoy it. It would be good to be able to eat it. But you have a responsibility. Feed your kids. And this is what we're doing with this hip hop music. We're indulging in the music and we're saying, fuck those kids. And, the kids is suffering, and this is what's happening. We're not being adults. We're not being real and saying, kids shouldn't listen to this. This is not right for kids to hear and to be mimicking. And the song don't have to be like this. The lyrics don't have to be this. We can change it up and it can still be entertaining. We're the only race of people who have music that glorifies the destruction of our people, the killing of our people, the disrespect of our women. And then we're the poorest race of people in the country. And it's like, we don't want to put together this connection. So, country music, they got the music. White people successful, they doing their thing. They don't have to deal with the negative side of hip hop like we do. They get to enjoy the hip hop music and it's not affecting them as a community, as a people, because they're on top. It's clearly affecting us. And that's where people get confused because they say, well, white people listen to more rap than black people. Everybody want to say that, well, white people listen to them because it's not going to affect them the way it affects us. They listen to the music, but their reality is not that music. We listen to the music and it's our reality. So when you're hearing shoot 'em up, kill 'em, bang, bang, that's happening on your block. Niggas talking about slanging drugs, you walk past that every day. Bitches and hoes and girls acting like whatever, we see that every day is in our family. All this shit we talk about is our life. To them, it's watching a movie. It's the same shit. I mean, you look at people like Eminem and these white rappers and, rappers who grew up in the hood. Look at them. The way they are is because they grew up in that place. You put anybody in that environment around that atmosphere, that's what they're going to be. I grew up with a white kid on my block and he was just as black as me as far as the way he acted, walked, and talked. He just was white. He didn't know, that's where he's from. He didn't know about any of this stuff. He was just a white dude who grew up in the hood and that's what he was around his life. So it's influential, the music, the culture. And if we don't change it, nothing is going to be beneficial for us. It's been too long. It's decades where they have benefited off the destruction of black people. And it's because of the music. And yeah, the lyrics need to be changed. And it's crazy, everybody's entitled to their opinion. And I don't expect people to agree with something they're making money off of, but they can still make the money and not have it affect the community. It's all well and good. It's all about money until your loved one, a kid, gets shot up and killed in a violent, destructive way. And, what are you going to say then? What these people do? You get money and you move out of the hood and, you get that kind of crazy money, you get the fuck away from the hood. You get away from these people. So this glorification that they're doing of the black community, when they get their millions of dollars, where they go? To the white people, to the suburbs, because they understand what that community is. Why would they stay there? Because they know what's going to happen there with them having this money. So why would you glorify that and then come back to that community knowing what's going to happen to you? It's like telling everybody you hit the lottery and you come home with a bunch of money. What you think's going to happen? So if you glorifying this music and killing and robbing and disrespecting everything like that, once you become successful, you don't want to go back to that. So that's you telling yourself you're not really down with this hood the way you think it is. You just made your money and that's all you really care about. And that's all well and good for anybody. Self-preservation is the number one key to, life and survival. First thing our instincts is everything. That's what we go off of, self-preservation. What we really didn't get a chance to dig deeper into is how we can use hip hop to benefit the Black community instead of hurting it the way it is now. So we didn't really get a chance to get into that more deeper. And, if I could have got my full point out and got into deeper discussions about a lot of the stuff we talked about, it's an economic thing. We can have the music, of course, hip hop. And we need to make sure the economics or, the reality of the Black community is resonating in a positive way. And then we can put that into our music. So like T.I. said, when he talked about this, if we don't make the Black community, if we don't change the Black community, then what we're rapping about is going to reflect the Black community. And that's violence and drug dealing and everything like that. This is what we're rapping about because this reflects the Black community. So how do we change the lyrics to what reflects the Black community? We got to change the Black community. So we change the Black community in a positive way and have more entrepreneurs, more Black businesses or what have you, then the music will reflect that. But the question will be, will the record labels put it out? Will they sign the artist talking about the prosperous, peaceful, nice Black suburb? No, because that's obviously not what they want to put out for Black folks, but they could put that out for the white country people. They could talk about fields of freaking grain and, rose petals and horses and shit. They can sing about that, love and all the stuff they got, make millions of dollars off of it, big houses and all that, make all the money and sing about this stuff. Cool, they'll pay them. But for us, it has to be about what's destroying the Black community. And that's basically what we're talking about. Now, me personally, from my research, I think it's going to change anyway. I think eventually the lyrics are going to change. You see they censoring everything because they're already having that discussion and people can't understand how we're segueing into this. And this is coming because when you start having stuff like, critical race theory, when they start changing the history books, saying that, slaves was workers, they came to America to work, to live the American dream, So they teetering in this direction and then censoring the internet and, now content creators, you upload on YouTube, they always ask you, is this video for children? Yes or no. And, the content is basically, your video. So we can see clear as day where this is heading. And eventually videos that's talking about slavery and all the Black history stuff is going to be gone.